we're going to go hit some headlines. Clickbait headlines, in fact. I've been looking around, finding some headlines here and there. And in this new segment, the idea and the name of the game is I will give you the headline, Luke. You got to tell me what the article is about.
Oh, boy. First off, I hate clickbait headlines.
This is a perfect game for you.
Yeah, good. Okay.
I also hate clickbait headlines, but for anything for the podcast, buddy.
Yeah.
No, it'll be painless. Actually, some of these are quite fun, pretty informative, and I don't do the ones where it's like, check out these big knockers.
Yeah. You wouldn't imagine what her knockers look like today.
Yeah. It's such a copy paste.
I do imagine. Let me see.
It's probably nothing like I expect.
I don't even know who she is.
So yeah, these aren't clickbait. These are actually, most of these are NPR headlines. So actually productive. This will be fun. All right. So let me just get quickly set up here. The first one is these mushroom foragers hit the jackpot. Then they got creative.
These mushroom foragers hit the jackpot. Then they got creative. So either they're looking for mushrooms or what's the other stuff you got the pigs looking for in like Italy? Truffles. Maybe they're looking for truffles too. Something along those lines possibly. But then they got creative. So that leads me to believe that they stumbled on like a pot farm, and then they started they didn't just like take everything. They like maybe started picking some from the edges, and then started selling that on their own. Is what I'm gonna go with.
Okay, you got some of it right. I thought you were just gonna go straight for the shrooms, but so this is a story of these guys live up in the California coastline, and they're foragers by trade, which I didn't even know was a trade. But essentially, they just go out into the woods.
Damn hippies.
They just look for things that are valuable, or that they can eat and consume. And they found like this giant patch of chanterelle mushrooms. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Chanterelle mushrooms, which are these big, meaty mushrooms that are pretty rare because you can't cultivate them. You can only find them in the wild. This patch that they found netted out like 200 pounds of mushrooms.
Holy Christ.
Yeah.
That's a lot of mushrooms are light.
A lot of fucking mushrooms. So the one thing with the one guy is starting to claim that he has a nose, that like every time they go out into the woods and he's like, I smell the mushrooms. And his buddy doesn't believe him. He's like, no. And he's like, no, I smell them. He's like, every day I say that, we find mushrooms.
He goes out in the middle of the night and scopes it out. Or brings like a dog.
Exactly. So the crazy thing about these mushrooms, their haul alone, 200 pounds worth, was worth $4,000. So they just like found $4,000 just like out in the woods. And I looked it up. You can get like 2 ounces of these dried mushrooms for $15.
Oh,
so it's a pretty good market for chanterelle mushrooms.
Is that what you brought today?
I wish. I wish we found it. We should have done it at the top of the show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a pretty solid one.
Okay.
Now we can all be foragers. They posted on Facebook. I should say this. They were nice guys. They posted on Facebook, and some people were like, oh, we'll pay you for some of those. Like, we'll buy some. And they just like shipped them out to the people for free. So, see, hippies
good
cool.
people. They're good people. They just want to see the world go around. Love, peace, happiness. That's not a bad way. They might not be the wealthiest, but in here.
Wealthy in the heart. All right. Here's our number 2 clickbait headline. Canada taps into strategic reserves to deal with massive shortage.
Okay. Canada. Give me that one more time.
Canada taps into strategic reserves to deal with massive shortage.
Okay. So I'm not thinking it's like water. Because, I mean, they got water everywhere, right?
Yeah, literally everywhere.
Just melt the ice.
But, yeah,
if you haven't thought of that yet, why not? Massive shortage. I don't want to talk about the thing that the pandemic, the health issue going on. So I don't want to say anything about that. But I'm guessing maybe it's some sort of monetary money reserves that they're tapping into.
Close, but not really at all.
I'm glad it's not.
Yeah. Canada has released 50 million pounds of maple syrup from their maple syrup reserves.
Oh, okay.
50 million pounds.
That's a lot of.
So Quebec Quebec supplies 70% of the world's maple syrup. I didn't know this.
You ever done a maple shot?
No.
Me either.
Sounds great.
DJ autocorrect.
DJ autocorrect. Have you done one?
No, I've never done one, but I think that's our next episode.
That'd
we should
be
all do a shot of maple shot.
So demand over the last year has jumped 21% for maple syrup around the world. Okay. So with everything, with the supply chains and everything, there's just been this kind of shortage. So they have these giant stores of maple syrup to like make sure the market is properly satisfied. This lady who manages like this house of maple syrup, she goes, "That's why the reserve is made to never miss maple syrup, and we won't miss maple syrup." I said that like not a Canadian, but anyway.
So how much of the reserve was used?
That's a great question. They didn't put that in the article, but like I'm guessing there's got to be at least twice that.
Yeah,
like, right?
It would be significant.
It would be significant. The last really fun part of this is the last time they had to bring up this reserve of maple syrup was in 2012. Someone stole 3,000 tons of maple syrup, which was worth $19 million.
I'd imagine. Yeah, you go get a little like pint of syrup and it's like $20.
So we should make Ocean's 14.
Yeah. Ocean's 3.
Ocean's 14 where they knock off the maple syrup reserve. So
Dang.
we
only need what, 6,000 pounds of it?
I know. That was the second clickbait headline that I had for you.
What you said, 3,000 tons?
3,000 tons. I can't imagine how many trucks that would be, right? Like that's got to be a couple dump trucks.
Yeah, how do you pull that off?
Just like
3,000 pounds, maybe. That's insane. You need
no,
like
3,000 tons.
Team.
It said 3,000 tons.
That's like, was that 60,000 pounds?
And it says
it's a whole
here,
caravan.
It says here that the maple syrup reserves just outside of Quebec City they've been stockpiling maple syrup for 21 years.
That's amazing.
Got to start somewhere.
That's where you like pay somebody like $10,000 to let you jump into a vat of maple syrup. Have you ever gone and tapped maple trees?
No, I've seen at some houses though. Like,
it's actually really fun.
Yeah.
It's a great autumn, great autumn time thing to do.
That's the future. Autumn.
Yeah, autumn. Great autumn time thing to do. It's a lot of fun, but you can't mess up the taps. Like people get mad at you because like they're metal, and if you're hitting them in and you like bend it and screw it up, then it won't pour out right.
It ruins the drip.
I heard you're not allowed to be a Canadian citizen if you fuck up the taps. Is that true?
Yeah,
probably. You're never allowed in again.
Go be an American.
I got three more for you. Cash scattered across a Southern California freeway sent drivers into a frenzy.
I mean, that almost sounds like a given, or maybe someone was doing like a giveaway, like a Mr. Beast or something, like just was flying over in a helicopter and dropped a duffel bag, or like someone was stealing, robbing a bank, and then then it just exploded.
They were shooting a Michael Bay movie.
Oh.
No, you're right. This one's pretty straightforward. This one's not as much of a clickbait. It's not hard. So I give you this one. You got this one. I think you're 2 for. I'm gonna give you 1.5 out of 3.
Okay, I'll take it.
Essentially this armored truck just like had a door open or something and all these bags broke, and so there's just like 1s and 20s, just like they must have just been picking it up from a strip club.
Yeah.
And it just like littered the highway, and all these people just started getting out of their car and caused massive traffic jam, and the cops showed up and were just like, "You better give that back." And some people were like, "Oh yeah, we were."
Yeah, we were helping.
We were helping him, right?
And then someone's like, "My car," and then they just walk over with a 20 and put it in their like shirt pocket. You're all right.
But then
it's on me.
2 people got arrested because they were like hiding it like in their pants.
Hey, it becomes it's on the ground.
It's just funny. Like the news is like, you better give the money back because if they track your bills and like they'll find you.
You better don't. You're just like looking like a kid stealing like a cookie and like
just
slowly
right back
eating
to the
it.
strip club.
Yeah.
We'll never track this.
Just circulating it.
Recirculating it, spreading the wealth. All right, you're 1.5 for 3. Here's another one. Spiders have arachnophobia.
I would too. I mean, is it other spiders thinking other spiders? I mean, that's what it sounds, or like spiders thinking like they don't like scorpions because scorpions are arachnids to a degree. That maybe that's something like that. I mean, it just sounds like spiders being afraid of spiders. Or
boom, I'm going to give you the full point on this one. But the reason I clicked on it was that it's really funny because they took the real spider and they built like this little stage, like a theater amphitheater thing. And they like the spider's sitting there on this platform and they raise up another fake spider to see if it would like recognize it and run away. And so they 3D printed these little like circles with little eyes on them. And they were trying to recognize, are they just afraid of objects or are they actually afraid of spiders? And so they raised up the little 3D thing, the 3D printed thing, and the spider just looked at it. And they raised up one with like eyes painted on it, and it just looked at it. And they raised up a dead like real spider, and the thing like, I'm out of here, and just like freaked out and ran. So it was just really funny.
Okay,
they put that much work into this study.
Let me tell you. Let me put this in you. See how you react to this. So you're in this room, and there's an elevator, and what you're just standing in this room, and we're gonna raise up just like a mannequin, but like kind of more lifelike, and just raise it up and see what you do. Then we're gonna bring it down. Then we're gonna put some beady little eyes on it. Just raise it up. Doesn't say, you're like, hello, anyone? And then we're gonna lower that down, and then we're gonna bring up a dead body. That would be like, I feel like I'd be freaking out more and more each time.
That's true. That's true. Now that you put it that way,
I don't know if it's a good test.
If you put it human terms, I really relate to the spider.
Yeah.
But the spider's just down there thinking like, this is really
You get captured. This is like some Saw stuff.
It was 15 spiders, 15 guy spiders, 15 girl spiders. So this is exactly
all
like
freaking
Saw.
out.
Just like dead spiders getting thrown at you. But I also just wanted to know what the purpose of that study was, and they didn't really have one.
Yeah.
They just did
We
it.
just had all these spiders.
Yeah.
Thought it was cool.
All right, so you are how did I do the math? You got the mushroom one.
2.5.
You got the half and half. That was 1, and then you got the highway 1, 2, arachnophobia 3. I'll give you 3.
I don't know if I got the Canadian Reserves one.
You didn't.
No.
All right, so
you're 2.5.
You're 2.5 for 4.
Yeah.
So here's the last one. All right. Carmen Mola was a popular Spanish novelist. 3 male writers made her up.
Bet he was. I mean that just sounds like 3 dudes having a podcast, and there's like, all right, let's just start writing these crazy books, and but I don't know. I don't think 3 writers is gonna sell. Let's just make up a name for our pseudonym, or what do they call a pen name?
Yeah, pen name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the full point on that one. That's pretty much it. But the crazy thing is, so they wrote 3 books under this woman's name, Carmen Mola, and created a whole profile and a website for her. She was like a literature teacher, 40 years old, lived in Madrid. And like they just published these 3 books with Penguin Random House, like a big publisher, right? These mystery thriller novels that were really popular in Europe. And the 4th book that Carmen Mola wrote was in a competition, this like literary competition. The book won €1 million, so $1.2 million. And these 3 dudes stood up and were like, "That's us."
Who do we pay this? Who do we make this out to?
And it just all broke. Then like these 3 guys have been writing under this woman's name for. She's not real. She's not a real woman that they stole, but they've been writing under her name for 4 years. Isn't that crazy?
Then you got the kid like in class like doing a book report and like. My favorite author is Carmen Mola. She's a librarian in Madrid, and she started writing a book. And then, the next day, and she's gonna be at the awards and then like she's just watching, and then like her whole life is just shattered because she was looking up to Carmen Mola.
Yeah, dude. She never writes again. Yeah, these guys should be ashamed. Or
I think it's whatever.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be ashamed. I think, look, I've written some Amazon erotica, You just put it out there under a pen name, write some nasty shit, and people buy it.
Some residual income.
Some residual income. Well, you did, how many, DJ autocorrect, how many will you do on that? How do you do? What do you do? What did I say? 3 out of 4? 3 out of 5?
Yeah, that works. 2.5, 3. 2.5, 2.5.
2.5, 3. Let's call it 3.
We'll call it 3.
Call it a nice round 3.
3 out of 5.
I'll take a 3.
3 out of 5. Good job, Luke. Great job.
Thank you.